Hello, screen is visible.
Recording in progress.
Hello. Hello. Am I audible? Okay. Am I audible? Suresh, am I audible? Milind? Milind, am I audible? Nikhil? Milind? My voice is audible? Okay. Milind, am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. So now we'll study the next part of this second chapter. So it is remaining. So syllabus for this: automotive batteries, then automotive lightning system, starting system, charging system, electric horn, electric fuel gauge, wiper and side indicator circuit, and electric speedometer. Okay. So this is the starting system. So generally, whatever electrical system required for the automobile, first we need to see the what is need of the electrical system. So vehicle, there is one important component, that is the engine. So we need to start the engine. For that, cranking is required. How to provide cranking for the engine? For that, we require starting system. So starting system consists of battery, then starting motor, wiring and the switches. So you can see this. This is the battery. Then this one is the starter. This one is alternator, and this one is the ignition switch. So my voice is audible?
Yes, sir, audible.
Okay. So to provide the cranking to the engine, so already you know there are 4 strokes: suction, compression, then power, and the exhaust. So initially we need to have cranking so that there will be continuous generation of the power, and that power can be utilized to run the transmission system and ultimately the vehicle. So these are the elements which are used in the starting system. Then second system which is important, and that is required to charge the battery, and that is called as a charging system. So one of the important element of the charging system, that is the alternator and the regulator with the wiring. So you can see this. This is the engine. This is the battery. Here you can see ignition switch. This one is the starter relay. This one is the starter. So in this system, or whatever schematic shown on the screen, you can see that once ignition switch is on, that will run the motor, and accordingly cranking is provided to this engine. And as engine is running, then through this pulley the power is supplied to this alternator, and this alternator, through this alternator we are able to charge the battery. So combinedly it is shown starting and the charging system. So in case of the starting system, this is battery. This battery is connected through this ignition switch to this starter, or we can call it as a starting motor. And with the help of this starting motor, we can start the engine. So other circuit I will show afterwards in the coming slides. And once engine start, via this pulley and belt drive, this alternator or dynamo, and through that we can charge the battery. So therefore it is shown here combinedly as a starting and the charging system. Then one of the important system which is part of electrical systems of the automobile, that is called as ignition system. So this ignition system, it may be contact type ignition system or electronic ignition system. So you can see the layout of the electronic ignition system. This one is the battery. Here it is shown as the ignition switch. Then this one is ECM, that is electronic control module. This one is ignition coil, one container. Then here it is distributor. These are the spark plugs, and this is the armature or reluctor. Now with respect to the name of each component, you can understand the function of the each component. So this is the source of energy, and that is required once ignition is provided. This electronic control module operates, and accordingly the ignition is provided via this distributor to the spark plugs. So spark plugs, there will be spark, as per the firing order. So as 4 spark plug are there, there will be 4 cylinders. So based on this distributor, the spark is provided in the engine chamber. So this is about brief about ignition system. Then lightning and accessory system, which includes lighting first, then horn and instrument panel wiring. Okay. You can see another view for the electrical system. Here, ignition switch, then this one is the alternator, battery, this is the starter, that is nothing but the starting motor, this is voltage regulator, and this one is the solenoid, starter solenoid. Okay, so basically electrical system, this one is the battery, charging system, and these many particulars with respect to the electrical system. Engine starting system, ignition system, lighting system, and auxiliary systems. Okay, so this is the battery. So you can see the structure of the battery. So wait for a minute. Okay, screen is visible.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so now you can see in detail what is automotive batteries. So automotive batteries or battery is a type of rechargeable battery that supplies electric energy to an automobile. So generally it is required for starting, it is required for lighting, and it is required for ignition. So that's why in short you can call it as a SLI battery, starting, lighting, and ignition. So to power the starter motor, to light, then to ignite. Okay, so what is automotive battery? Which converts chemical energy into electric energy. These are the simplest parts. Okay, then how battery is made? So generally batteries are made up of 5 basic components. Number 1, this black portion indicates number 1 component, which is known as resilient plastic container. So this one is the container inside which this component number 2, that is positive and negative internal plates made up of lead. So number 2. Then this is the third component, which is called as a plate separator. This is the plate separator. Then electrolyte. Fourth, a dilute solution of sulfuric acid and water, which is generally known as battery acid. So battery acid is nothing but combination of dilute solution of sulfuric acid and the water. And number 5, lead terminals. These are the terminal. Here it is sectional view is shown. This is one terminal and this is another terminal. Okay, then you can see this another sectional view for the battery lead terminals. One is connected to the first cell and another one is connected to the last cell, and internal wirings are there. So most automotive battery containers and their covers are made up of polypropylene. So you should remember this material. So it may be asked for the MCQ. So this one is the 12-volt car battery, and it has 6 compartments, or we can call it as in other words 6 sections or 6 shells, one and the same. So you can see that cells are connected with metal that conducts electricity from one cell to the another or the to the next. So this portion you can see metal strips. So these are connected in the series. So each cell is able to provide 2 volts. So 6 cells are there. 6 into 2, that is 12 volt. And for cars, this 12-volt battery is used. Again, for heavy vehicle, it can be made we can use 2 batteries. So 12 plus 12. So that can be provided as a 24 volt. But we are going to use 2 batteries in case of the big vehicles. Then this is again schematic for the charging system. So starting and charging system. So all the elements are same except that alternator is added, and that is used for charging the battery. Okay. So this one is the battery. This is schematic. The engine is shown. This is alternator, which is connected via pulley. Okay. Then this is again line diagram for charging system, battery, ignition switch, voltage regulator, rectifier, and the alternator. So this alternator is main element which is used, which takes power from, which takes rotation from the engine via pulley, and that is used to get the battery charged. So previously dynamo were used. Now that term is changed, and now alternators are used in the charging system. So both are typically called as a generator, and which are driven by belt from the engine. Again, another schematic diagram. Okay, so now with respect to the starting system, we need to see what are the components of the starting system. So basically we have seen the layout. Now we are going to see what are the major types of starter drives are. So one is Bendix drive, overrunning clutch drive, and dial drive. Okay, so this is the Bendix drive. So you can see the various components first. This is flywheel, and this we need to rotate for the providing the cranking effect to the engine. So I will draw one figure. So, okay. So this one is the flywheel. This is crankshaft. This is the flywheel, and here I will draw a motor, and to that motor there is small gear which is attached. So we need to provide meshing between these two parts so that we can have cranking effect and engine will start. So you can see here, this one is the flywheel, this is the flywheel, and this flywheel we need to mesh with this pinion gear. So once this pinion gear is in mesh with this flywheel, there will be cranking, and that this assembly we are going to call it as a Bendix drive. So this is used to crank the engine, and motor which runs this pinion at higher speed, that is called as a starting motor. So Bendix drive is used. So you can see this. This is the pinion. This one is the sleeve. So this is the armature. This is the motor. So once ignition switch is turned on, this will move in this direction and it will enmesh with this flywheel, and this will rotate flywheel. Once flywheel is going to rotate, there will be suction, compression, expansion, and exhaust, and that engine is will run. So once suction, compression, expansion, and exhaust, that is nothing but one cycle. It starts automatically. So that's why the ignition switch, you might have seen, some of you might have seen how it operates. So that key we are turning for switching, that switching the ignition switch, automatically it will turn in the reverse direction. So this switch is spring loaded. So for certain time this pinion is going to rotate at high speed. Once it will start, automatically this will move in this direction. So this way, the bending drive or the starting motor is used to start the engine, and automatically that power is provided to the transmission system. Okay. Okay. So next important device which is used to alert the people or the crowds whenever vehicle is moving on the road. So during traffic, it is very useful device which is essential one for the vehicle. So electric horn. So this one, these are the actual images, and this one is the rating. One example I have given. So it is operated on 12 volts. This one is the frequency 350 oblique 415 hertz. Sound level 108 dash 118 decibel, and it is having 90 mm diameter. So this can be used for bike as well as car. This one is the schematic internal structure of the automobile, of the electric horn. So such coil, this one is the diaphragm, this is the armature, and this is the contact. So the vibration of this diaphragm will cause the sound, and that will be useful to give alert that vehicle is coming, and so that we'll have safety driving on the road. So this is electric horn. Then another one device, that is wiper. So you can see this is the mechanism for the wiper. This is wiper motor. These are the two wipers. So this is linkage, or we can call it as a wiper transmission linkage. And through this wiper motor, so we can have oscillation movement for these wipers, and that is required to clean the glass in front of the driver, and it is most useful during the rainy seasons to have clear vision of the road to get the better control. So then next device, that is fuel gauge. So you can see this one is the fuel tank. Such indicator, it is provided on the dashboard. So whatever panel in front of the driver, that is called as a dashboard. So on dashboard, such meter is provided which indicates either fuel tank is full or empty, or it will show the exact amount of the fuel inside the tank. So generally this is fuel. You can see this one is the float which is provided inside the tank, fuel tank, and on the basis of this register it will indicate, or that reading is calibrated to indicate via this fuel gauge. So this register is used. So register means it is going to have the resistance, somewhat resistance. So based on the resistance, which again it is based on the position of the float, which will indicate the amount of fuel inside the tank. Okay. Then one of the important and that too confusing one terms, that is speedometer and odometer. So you should know that what is speedometer and what is odometer. So on the dashboard, on the vehicle dashboard or any automobile dashboard, so there are number of such structures. What this structure indicate? So some are indicating the fuel, some are indicating the speed, some are indicating the various condition of various devices. So some meters are provided to indicate the temperature, that is temperature indicator. Some are provided to indicate the speed, that is provided. Speedometer is a device which measures speed of the vehicle in kilometers per hour. So this is speedometer. So you can see this is speedometer, and this is speedometer and odometer. This is also speedometer and odometer. So odometer is a device which measures the distance covered by the vehicle. So this is the distance 64,835 kilometers. Here you can see 54,902. And now for modern cars, there are odometer. So we can have a reading per trip. So such buttons are provided here so that we can put it on zero reading. Again, that for the trip we can calculate what is the total kilometer traveled by that vehicle, and this reading is not going to be changed. So you should remember this difference between speedometer and odometer. So this may be asked during campus interview. So you should know the difference between this speedometer and odometer. So okay, so this is about the content which we have discussed in brief. This is part 2 for this second chapter. So this we have seen already. Another schematic view. So you can see this. This one is the flywheel. This is cranking motor, or we can call it as starting motor or the starters. Here you can see clearly. This is flywheel. So here actually there is engine, and to that engine on the crankshaft flywheel is there. So on the flywheel there is one ring gear. So already we have seen in theory of machine ring gear. So that ring gear is provided on the flywheel, and that ring gear is in mesh with this pinion that will rotate the flywheel. Okay, so this one is the flywheel, and on that there is a ring gear. So such ring gear is provided on the flywheel, and which is in mesh with the pinion of this cranking or starting motor. So to start the automobile engine, crankshaft must turn fast enough for air fuel mixture to enter into the cylinder. So that is the cranking. So already you know how many strokes are there: suction, compression, expansion, and the exhaust. So electric starting motor is used to start the engine. Okay, this is another schematic. This is for the charging system. This is charging and starting system. So for starting system, how many elements are there? Battery, starter motor, and the switch. For charging system, battery, alternator, and the voltage regulator. So this is electric horn. Already we have seen. This is another image for the fuel gauge. So this is the meter which is on the dashboard. Somewhat different way it is shown. This is the register which we have seen. This is float. This is float in empty condition. So based on the value of resistance, this will indicate full or empty tank. So gauge at dashboard. This is the gauge provided on the dashboard. So another one more figure for the fuel gauge. So whatever we have seen in connection with this is variable resistor. This is float. Again, another view for the wiper system. This is motor. This one is worm and wheel gear. This part is called as a worm, and this is wheel gear. And commonly it is used to operate the wipers. So type of gears used: worm and worm wheel for operating the wiper system. This is regarding the flasher unit. or the turn signals. So you can see this is the battery, ignition, turn signal, flasher unit. So based on it is, suppose this is connected with this, right side signal will be, this is connected with this, left side signal will be there, and this is called as a flasher unit. Indicator circuit, or in simple way we can call it as the indicator circuit. Okay, this is another view for the indicator circuit. So this is one more image with respect to the speedometer. So you can see the internal structure of the speedometer. This is the shaft which revolves at a speed relative to the vehicle. This one is the spinning magnet. Just you can see all the points on the slide. What is the function of each and every component? It is also mentioned in the slide. Then okay, so this is about electrical system, so which was remaining. Now during next lecture I will start third chapter, that is transmission system. So ISC 1 will be based on 3 chapters. So please wait